front of the offices of Grover Norquist.
Grover's plane has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Grover's plane has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Grover's plane has got to go.
We're immigrants. My grandparents were school teachers. My father was a very successful entrepreneur. And I am incredibly grateful to all of them for the hard work that enabled me to live a life that my great-grandparents could only dream of. And I am also incredibly grateful to the country that enabled that dream to come true. But I fear that for too many of our fellow citizens, the American dream is becoming a pipe dream. My father was very smart and he worked very hard. But he'd be the first to tell you that his success depended as much on the country in which he worked as on his own efforts. It is impossible to create wealth without a good system of public schools to provide an educated workforce. Without soldiers, policemen, and firemen to provide security. Without a transportation infrastructure to provide access to a national market of customers. The list goes on and on. But all these things are at risk today because too many people no longer recognize that private wealth creation requires public investment. They are at risk today because too many politicians have signed a pledge that is starving our government of the money it needs to invest in our citizens and our future. I am among the most fortunate Americans. Unlike the average member of the middle class, my income has grown dramatically over the last 30 years. And yet, over that same period, Congress has repeatedly lowered my taxes. Because my income comes primarily from investments, I always pay at a much lower rate than middle-class Americans whose income comes from good, old-fashioned, hard work. In 2010, I had adjusted gross income of over $700,000, but paid only 16% in federal income taxes. And Grover Norquist thinks my taxes should be even lower. His taxpayer protection pledge opposes any and all efforts to increase tax rates or even to close any tax loopholes. Think about what this means. Grover thinks that tax breaks for millionaires are more important than helping middle-class kids go to college. Grover thinks that tax breaks for millionaires are more important than fixing America's crumbling infrastructure. Grover thinks that tax breaks for millionaires are more important than health care for the sick, the disabled, the elderly. Grover even thinks that tax breaks for millionaires are more important than narrowing the budget deficits that will have to be repaid by our children and grandchildren. Grover, we think you are wrong, wrong, wrong. We think that giving every citizen a fair shot at the American dream is more important than tax breaks for millionaires. Investments in education and in infrastructure are more important than tax breaks for millionaires. And we think that wealthy Americans like me should pay higher tax rates than middle-class Americans, not lower rates. We reject Grover's pledge because we want to live in a society that offers opportunity to all Americans, not just to a privileged few. Grover's pledge because we think that politicians should only be pledging to do what's best for America. We reject Grover's pledge and embrace another pledge offering liberty and justice for all.